This next video tutorial, we will be continuing adding some elements such as furniture items or materials to our 3D model that we have created using this scaled image that we imported into our SketchUp. The version, once again, being used is the free version. This is that free web version that SketchUp offers that you don't have to pay for. There are some things that are different from the pro version, but it's not too much. We can still design and you can still create using this free web version. So for today, let's go ahead and begin to add some furniture to our image or our model here. So in looking at the space here, we can start in, let's say, this bedroom here. So on my screen, I have rotated, using that rotate tool, around to the front lower bedroom. And you can do the same if you're following, or if you have another image that you are working on, pick a area to begin to apply some furniture items. We're also going to put in some windows and doors as well and show how to achieve that. But first, when we are adding things, we can create them from scratch, which I will show in another video, or we can use a quick method, and that is going to the 3D warehouse that SketchUp offers us. So over to your tools off to the right side here, we have this image that says 3D warehouse. If you use the fourth one down, left clicking on it, it will bring up your 3D warehouse. For me, I have mine open already, but it may open up and you're at the home tab, and in that search box here, it says, what can we help you find? So this is where you can import already created images into your space, and you can also export your images, which you'll see in other videos to come as well. But for now, you can just simply begin to search the content that you're looking for. So for this bedroom, let's say I am looking to bring in a queen size bed, a queen bed. You can be very specific with giving sizes, so you can type that information in. If you have a particular company that you want to shop, you can put in that company's name and their bed products or their sofa products that you're looking for. But once you have that in, you want to search in your models. Collections is also here where we do have other models as well. And this is from particular specific collections. Then you can also search if you're looking for a certain material, which maybe we'll talk about when we begin to add the bedding material, if you want to change it, or the type of headboards that you're looking for. Even if you want to search the catalog specifics, there'll be some images there. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and stay in the models to demonstrate this. Looking at these images, there is an icon here that says download. When you get ready to download and you're finding images, you want to pay attention to your megabytes. We don't want the megabytes to be too large because, one, they will take up too much of your memory in your space in the program and cause your program to run slow. What I do currently like about SketchUp that I've discovered recently here is that when I select that download button, if it's too large, it'll tell me. So for instance, this queen size bed is 8.7 megabytes. So this is going to be pretty large. You want to kind of stay low, like in 1. But it'll tell you importing a large model. You selected a large model, which may slow down your SketchUp or cause other issues. If you still want to import it, go ahead. But if not, you just want to come out of it and take their advice. But if it works for you and that's what you are married to or concrete on, then go ahead and select your bed of choice. But just looking at the size of these different models here, we really want to just pay attention and make sure that we're finding something that is not overwhelming to our program. Like looking at things like kilobytes, like this queen size bed has 196 kilobytes. So that is a decent size model to bring into my space. 1.5 megabytes, that's a decent size. So I'm going to go ahead and just select this queen bed here and do the download. And bringing the download in, as you can see, it is attached to my mouse. For now, I'm just going to stick this over to the side with the left click and use my O for orbit and just kind of orbit this around so I can take a look at this bed. Now, I see that it came in a different direction. So when I go and select it and I'm ready to kind of move this and do some things with it, I can go and choose my move tool. If I hover over it, I see that it is coming in as what we call a component 1 unit, and it has these plus signs. If I just select and hover over the plus sign, I can use this and begin to rotate. That little compass is located, not compass, but protractor is found here on my screen. And I can just line this up so that it lines up to the correct axis that I need this to turn to so that it is straight on the model. For this image, I need it to be on my green axis. Simply left clicking it, and then I can kind of begin to move it into place. Before moving that into place, I do have my furniture in here. I want to go ahead and zoom into my drawing. If I double click, I can go ahead and delete out the face if I needed to that is obstructing the view of my image. So that way my image will not toggle back and forth in distortion. Now selecting my drawing. I want to grab the bottom of the actual component here and just simply place it over, using my floor plan as a guide and seeing, okay, does it fit into place? Now for this image, I actually got lucky because there's no scaling and rescaling that I need to do to this image here. So it works out for me. If I need to move it, just using that move tool or typing in M, select it and just kind of slide it back into the placement of where I want it to be placed. So once again, we got really lucky with not having to rescale our drawing or our model that we brought in. Let's go ahead to the 3D warehouse here and find maybe a nightstand. I can do a nightstand with a lamp on it or just a single nightstand. I'm just really building quickly my model how I want it to be. Let's see, it's telling me load more results. There we go. So just staying in the style, and remember, I'm taking a look at how big the actual image is that's coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of the models to import and bring it in. Once again, as you can see, it's facing in an opposite direction. So I need to go ahead and rotate this around. And I'm just going to hover over one of those plus signs here. I can get to it. There we go. So that my image turns to the correct direction that I need it to be in. And then I can go ahead and use that move tool to go ahead and move this into place and say, okay, this is the vicinity that I want to have my image. So now we are building some things here. We are off and running with our image. And then finding things like a simple, let's do a side chair because I do have a chair in my space. Maybe I can be more specific and say a bedroom side chair. finding something fun. And as you can see, we have even more models here that are fully built out. We have house models. You'll find cars, full details. Side chair with ottoman. And even though that spelling my spelling is a little off here. There we go. Now we can search something that maybe will work in our bedroom. And let's say I'm just going to do something. And again, I'm looking at the size of our models. A lot of times these will be really large. So, just really pay attention to that and be mindful, as I have already mentioned. But once you found something that you want to bring in, of course, the same process is just to repeat it, import it into the model, scale it if it needs to scale, or even move it around. Here, this comes in with even a little side table that wasn't shown, but that's okay. It's a little large, but let's see, how does it fit into our space here. I'm going to go ahead, hover over the top, maybe change the direction of it to get it to work for me in the direction that I want it to be in my room. And then move it into place. And I like to always suggest grabbing the very bottom so that you can be placed on the actual floor. And seeing that this is a little large, I can go ahead now and rescale this. So if I typed in the letter S, I really don't like scaling this way, but I'm going to do what works in this situation. So I do have the letter S typed so that I can open up our scale. And then we get these green grippers all around, and our object is in a cube. I always recommend grabbing from the angle and just scale it down. Never scaling it from the end points. You always want to grab like the center if you're going left or right, or in the middle if you're going up and down. Once it is scaled to your likings, then of course kind of situate it on your drawing within your model. And of course use your orbit tool to kind of look around and see, does this work for you? Whenever you need to move this, of course you can just use your move tool to grab this and put it where you would like it to be. Now, as you bring in your images here, or your individual models, I always recommend modeling your spaces individually by room or sectioning them off. Because again, being mindful of, I don't want to move back too far, being mindful of keeping your drawings organized is always key. So we don't want different things to get mixed up. And I'm just looking at my spacing around my walls here. So with that being said, and organizing our drawings here, you can do something that is called grouping of your furniture. And then we're going to tag them. Because these images or models can make our drawing a little heavy, we want to group our individual spaces. So if I went through and I selected my bed, and then I hold down my shift key to grab more than one item, I want to select my nightstand, let's orbit this around and move it around, and then I'm going to kind of slide in here and select my chair. Then I can go ahead and right click and make this a group. because we're into grouping, organizing. Everything in this room is grouped together. But then we can turn around and do something that is called tag. And we're going to tag our group so we can turn this on and off as needed. So if I'm working on other things in this room, such as beginning to create a floor, beginning to add things to the wall, I can turn the furniture off so that I can work around the space as needed. When I'm ready to create a tag, you will come over again to your tools found to the right of your screen. And the little icon that looks like a key tag or a name tag, you're going to select it. With this tags, we're going to go ahead and click the plus sign to create a tag. And you can call this a furniture tag, a lighting tag, a flooring tag, an appliance tag, kitchen, bedroom. You can name your tags however you want them to be according to how you have things grouped. So within this tag name, I'm going to name this tag, let's call this the master bedroom because this is the larger bedroom. So master bed room here, and that is going to be my tag name. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and abbreviate it and just say master bed. And then select OK. So now I just need to put these items on that tag. Now, how do I do that? I'm going to go in here and select the group. Then do a right click and go to the entity info. When the entity info opens up, I can see the group, and then down below I see the word tags. Right now it is untagged, but if I go to the drop down arrow and I scroll to the name that I started, which is the master bed, I can select that, and now this group is tagged. And clicking off of that, if I want to make sure that it is on the right tag group, I can once again select it, do a right click, go to my entity info, and I'll see it there. So now that we have this room tagged or organized, so to speak, we can go to those tags, and let's say I am preparing to add in my floor. So I can go to the master bedroom or the master bed tag and turn off the eye, and it will remove those furniture pieces until I'm ready to use them. Having these tags turned off will allow your program to run faster. And you have them off when they're ready to be turned on, turn them on. Remember, having them on makes the model a little heavier, so it does slow it down. For now, I'm going to leave my tags turned on. The next thing I want to demonstrate is coming to the exterior of your space. We can even insert windows quickly, opposed to drafting them individually. When trying to create or import a window, again, you will go to your 3D warehouse, and you can simply type in the word exterior windows or windows. And if you have something specific, I'm just going to type in actually window. If you have something specific like a mutton window, a sliding window, double pane, however you want to, a multi-unit window, however you want to have your windows, you can search it by name if you know that information. Once you have found the window that you want to use, again, looking at the size, you can download it into your model space. Notice that within these windows, we're looking more in kilobytes because it does not have a lot of modeling that was done to them, so it's not a heavy element. So if I'm looking for something like this contemporary window here, I can download that. If I'm looking for my double pane window, I can download that. And actually, we do have a double pane window spot on our drawing here. So I'm going to download this. And it comes right into my drawing. I can place it anywhere. Use my rotate tool. And let's go ahead and place this window. I always suggest getting on top or coming above your window or your model and rotate from the top of it. So we have it in the right direction, grabbing its corner and then coming to place it. Now, for this situation here, our window does not quite fit into the space here. We can go ahead at this time, place it where we need it to be, and then go ahead and scale it. So typing in the letter S, we can bring up our scale, grab from the center, and scale it so that it meets the endpoint of a group here. Go in the inside, and you do need to use things like maybe your orbit to grab that center and place it where it needs to be. So now we have created our window view to scale to fit on our model. The good thing about this is that when we're pulling these from the warehouse, they're already going to have things separated, such as the trim. So when you get ready to place it on your model, it fits in there perfectly. Now, you would need to go through and kind of move things up so that everything is meeting how it needs to meet. And that is just a matter of grabbing the proper endpoints and maneuvering your drawing around. If, for instance, you wanted this exact same window somewhere else, say the window next to it is the same thing, it's just a shrunk down version of it, and you're just trying to give that idea, you can select this and do a copy. You can always do a right click and go to edit your component as well to change any of the items within the component. We'll talk about that in a moment. But when you're ready to copy something, doing that right click, you can come up to the copy, and then over to the side, you can do a paste. And what we've done is brought it into our drawing. From here, once again, you can do S to rescale this. And then use your move tool to put it into place. You're always going to look for things where it's telling you, is it at the corner or on the edge, so that you know you're in the proper placement. And I'm just scaling this up using that orbit tool to get in here and make sure that it is fit inside of my space accurately. Are ready to do something like change the color of this window trim, for instance, you can go ahead and double click on that component to get inside of it and go to your materials or over to your paint bucket to go to your materials. And let's say you wanted to change the outside of our windows here to be this gray color, that trim. once you select it and you drop the paint and the color in place, it will change and it will apply to everything that came in as a component. This was a copy of the original, so anything that changes on the original would change on its copy. From here, now you have your new look and it is modified. And looking at applying that interior door or your interior doors to your space. Once again, to quickly do this, you can go over to that 3D warehouse. For here, I typed in interior door with handle. I wanted to be more specific here. And I can go through and choose a door. I'll choose this one here. It's 100 kilobytes. I can do a download for that and it comes right into my drawing. Of course, I want to go ahead and rotate this, hovering over the top in the correct direction. My door swing is this way, so I want to change that look. Notice here my handle is on one side versus the other. So you need to be specific about this as well when you are picking your doors. Also taking a look at how this door is going to open and close, looking at, how far the slab is facing back is going to be important too. So we have to pay attention to a lot of different things when we are selecting our doors. And the same applies for windows and any other pieces of furniture. But in choosing this for now, I'm going to type in S because I already know that it needs to be scaled. So I can scale this up maybe for myself so that it'll work. And then also down a little bit here. And then I always like to be smaller than what's needed so that I can go ahead and move it into place. Now, I mentioned before that, the only thing I don't like about finding things and having to use this scale, if I haven't mentioned it already, is when you are working with the scale option, sometimes your image can become distorted and it just doesn't look true to life. So I do recommend, being a little bit careful with that. As you can see, okay, it's fitting that way, but I'm going to go back to the scale and shrink it down in height. Maybe bring it down smaller than what it needs to be here as well. And then using that move to go ahead and maybe place it, then go back to my scale and scale it to fit into place here. Now we have our door placed on our model. Once again, this can be a copied door, or you can choose another one and go from there. Even though it's copied, it's still going to need its changes, such as the rotating of it and making sure that that door swing is the right way if it isn't. But for me, it is. So I can go ahead and place it. Another good thing is that we can, of course, group and organize our drawing. So as you can see, grouping and creating these tags kind of works like layers in a program like AutoCAD or even our concepts. By selecting a door here, I can hold down the Shift key, go ahead, do a right click and make this a group. And then I can go over to my tags and I've already added the word door. So now I can click on that group, go ahead and go to my entity info and add it to my door tag. So of course I can double check this by going to that tag and turning off the doors. And there we go, my interior doors turn off or whatever I have for that tag. Once again, keeping drawings organized is always the best idea. Thanks for watching. In the next lecture video here, I'm going to walk us through turning off our different tags so that we can work on adding other materials such as floor or wall textures or wall colors. But if you're working on a model, go ahead and walk through your drawing, add in your interior doors, add in your windows, and finish completing your model by including in all of those elements such as your furniture items.